6:30 a.m. Your alarm rings. Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind is already hijacked. You reach for your phone. 3 unread Slack notifications. An email from your manager, sent at 2 a.m., demanding a quick sync before the morning stand-up. Your chest tightens. You are exhausted, yet the workday hasn't even officially started. This is not ambition. This is a daily psychological toll. You're trading your mental bandwidth for a corporation that would post your job opening before your obituary. You are bleeding for KPIs. It stops today. We cannot magically rewrite the toxic corporate infrastructure or suddenly delete the endless micromanagement loops. But we can upgrade our internal operating system. Motivation is a fragile, useless metric. Strategy is scalable and reliable. In this briefing, we are stripping Stoicism of its ancient philosophical fluff and deploying it strictly as a tactical mental algorithm to hack office power dynamics. We will cover the definitive morning protocols you must execute before stepping into the building. These maneuvers will effectively neutralize the manufactured chaos of overflowing inboxes, aggressive deadlines, and volatile supervisors. Consider this your daily defense mechanism. Archive this video, study the parameters, and implement them during your commute. By the time you log in, your mind becomes completely untouchable. The corporate battlefield is won or lost before you authenticate your login. If you enter without a pre-calibrated framework, you become collateral damage to someone else's agenda. Let us systematically install the defense protocols you must execute every morning to secure your psychological perimeter. Protocol 1, the reactive morning inbox, the threat, the 7 a.m. email barrage. You wake up and check your phone. A chain of emails with half the department CC'd discusses a sudden pivot in Q3 deliverables. The panic is palpable. By reading this before showering, you allow the manufactured chaos of a disorganized project manager to dictate your physiological state. The Stoic code, Seneca observed, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The modern maneuver, implement a non-negotiable firewall between waking up and logging into the matrix. Do not sync your work email to your personal device. Disable all push notifications. Your morning routine must be a total communication blackout. You do not read a single line of corporate text until you are physically sitting at your desk, fully caffeinated, with your mental armor equipped. The psychological analysis. The system thrives on your constant availability. When you react to morning emails from bed, you condition colleagues to view your boundaries as highly permeable. By enforcing a blackout, you retrain them. You eliminate the anticipatory anxiety. When you finally open the inbox at 9 a.m., the crisis has often resolved itself. Or you engage as a tactical operator, not a sleep-deprived victim. You deny them the power of your immediate reaction. Protocol 2, the manufactured urgency, the threat, the ASAP culture. You sit down and a colleague drops a task via Slack with the dreaded ASAP tag. It is a request lacking scope, but heavy with projected panic. This is the phantom deadline, someone else's failure to plan, disguised as your immediate emergency. The Stoic code, Epictetus stated, "It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance." The modern maneuver, disarm the ASAP weapon through cold quantification. Do not validate their panic. Respond with a sterile inquiry regarding exact parameters. To allocate my bandwidth efficiently, specify the exact hour this is required and which of my current priority KPIs you recommend I pause. Force them to articulate urgency in tangible metrics, not emotional pressure. The psychological analysis, ASAP, is a psychological trap designed to bypass logical prioritization and trigger compliance. It is an emotional interpretation of a timeline. By demanding specific metrics and forcing the requester to take responsibility for derailing existing tasks, you expose the phantom nature of the deadline. Most emergencies dissolve when subjected to the friction of formal documentation. You remain the calm center. They confront their own disorganized workflow. Protocol 3. The pre-meeting cognitive leak. The threat, the calendar dread. You check your Outlook schedule and see back-to-back syncs, a touch base with a micromanaging supervisor, and a cross-departmental alignment meeting. Before the first hour passes, your energy drains, anticipating circular conversations and scope creep. The Stoic code, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." The modern maneuver, execute radical compartmentalization. Look at your calendar once during your morning briefing. Note hard commitments and mentally delete them from active processing until 5 minutes prior. Treat each meeting as an isolated simulation. Step in, execute your predefined role, provide data points, and step out. Do not carry the residue of the 10 a.m. sync into your 11 a.m. deep work block. The psychological analysis, anticipatory anxiety, is an inefficient allocation of mental resources. You are pre-living the exhaustion of a toxic meeting. By compartmentalizing, you prevent future events from contaminating your present state. You deploy reason precisely when needed. This creates a state of flow, highly resistant to office politics. You become a modular worker, operating efficiently within time blocks, immune to the overarching dread of the corporate calendar. Protocol 4. The morning gossip node. The threat. The pantry politics. You head to the break room for morning coffee. Waiting is the office chronic complainer. They attempt to pull you into a vortex of rumors about restructuring or complaints about new management directives. This is an engineered distraction designed to drag your operational frequency down to their level of insecurity. The Stoic code, Marcus Aurelius commanded, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The modern maneuver, the gray rock methodology, when approached with office gossip, become entirely uninteresting. Do not nod in agreement or share your own grievances. Use sterile phrases. That is an interesting perspective, or I haven't reviewed the data on that yet. Maintain neutral eye contact, finish preparing your beverage, and execute a swift extraction. Back to your workstation. The psychological analysis. Office politicians trade on validation and reciprocal information sharing. They are testing you. By becoming a gray rock, you deny them the emotional transaction they seek. Silence and neutrality are unsettling to those who thrive on drama. They will quickly categorize you as a non-viable target for political games. You conserve energy, they are forced to find another outlet for their neuroses. Protocol 5, the micromanager's shadow, the threat, the 9 a.m. status interrogation. You log in, and almost instantly your manager initiates a quick check-in that is an invasive audit of microtasks. They demand updates on minor details and attempt to dictate to your workflow. This is a blatant assault on professional autonomy, designed to soothe their own anxiety and illusion of control. The Stoic code, Epictetus stated, "The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control." The modern maneuver, preemptive data flooding. Do not wait for the interrogation. Before they ping you, send a highly structured, emotionally devoid summary of daily objectives, the exact status of pending deliverables, and projected completion times. Overwhelm their need for control with an impenetrable wall of cold metrics. If they dig into minutiae, redirect to macro-level KPIs. The psychological analysis, micromanagement is rarely about your competence. It is a manifestation of the manager's internal chaos. Defensive reactions validate their suspicion that you need oversight. Preemptive data flooding flips the script. You control the narrative and information flow. By separating their emotional need for control from your output, you render interrogations redundant. You become a black box of efficiency. Protocol 6. The unstructured priority loop. The threat, the endless task accumulation. You start your day without a rigid hierarchy of tasks. Consequently, your morning becomes a reaction to whichever department yells loudest. You spend the first 3 hours executing low-value administrative busywork, replying to minor Slack threads, and organizing folders. You are stuck in a loop of passive productivity, doing tasks that contribute nothing to core deliverables. The Stoic code, Seneca warned, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. The modern maneuver, the tactical triad. Every morning before opening communication channels, write down exactly 3 critical objectives for the day. These must be high-leverage tasks that directly impact primary KPIs or protect your professional leverage. Ignore the noise of secondary tasks until these 3 are executed. If a new request arrives, it goes to the backlog, unless it surpasses the triad and proven ROI. The psychological analysis, the corporate environment, is an entropy machine, naturally tending toward disorder. If you do not ruthlessly define priorities, the company will define them for you, ensuring you are always busy, but never impactful. The tactical triad forces a constraint on focus, acting as a psychological anchor. It eliminates decision fatigue and ensures your finite daily energy is spent maneuvering pieces that advance your position. Protocol 7. The identity merger trap. The threat, the morning KPI self-worth equation. Reviewing your dashboard, you notice a dip in user retention, a missed sales target, or a negative stakeholder comment. Instantly, you internalize the metric. You start your day believing that because the project is underperforming, you are inherently flawed. You let a corporate spreadsheet dictate your core identity and self-respect before 10 a.m., the Stoic code. Epictetus observed, what upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about the things. The modern maneuver, the metric disassociation protocol. Look at the red numbers and consciously verbalize the separation. This is a data point reflecting a system process. It is not a reflection of my inherent value. Treat your job like an engineer analyzing an engine. If the engine knocks, the engineer diagnoses mechanical failure, without personal shame. Approach daily tasks with absolute clinical detachment. The psychological analysis, hustle culture brainwashes you into merging personal identity with professional output. This makes you easy to manipulate. Managers extract unpaid overtime by threatening your ego. Enforcing metric disassociation severs that lever of control. You can analyze a failure, implement a correction, and close your laptop without carrying the emotional weight of a flawed corporate strategy. You are simply an operator, running a system. Protocol 8, the morning availability trap, the threat, the guilt-tripped boundary. You log on exactly at 9 a.m., but your team has been online since 8 a.m. A passive-aggressive message awaits. Glad you could join us. Immediately, a spike of guilt hits. You feel the urge to over-explain your schedules or perform tasks to prove your dedication. The corporate structure weaponizes your sense of responsibility, using guilt to stretch your contracted hours without offering additional compensation. The Stoic code. Seneca advised, "He who spares the wicked injures the good." In this context, sparing a toxic culture injures your own mental stability. The modern maneuver, the unapologetic arrival. Acknowledge the message with absolute literalness, stripping it of its passive-aggressive intent. Reply. Good morning. I am online and reviewing the overnight data now. Do not apologize for starting at your contracted time. Do not offer a backstory about your morning routine. Treat your agreed-upon working hours as an immutable law of physics. If they push for earlier availability, request a formal meeting to renegotiate your contract terms and compensation package. The psychological analysis. Passive aggression relies on your internal guilt to do the heavy lifting. The sender wants you to feel inadequate, so you will overcompensate with free labor. By responding literally and refusing to engage the emotional subtext, you short-circuit their manipulation loop. You signal that your professional boundaries are fortified by logic, not emotion. They will quickly learn that guilt tripping yields zero return on investment, and they will redirect their tactics toward more compliant targets. These protocols are not suggestions. They are the essential architecture of a robust psychological defense system. Walk into the office relying on a positive attitude, and you will be consumed. Treat every morning as a deliberate deployment of tactical stoicism. Identify the threat, recall the doctrine, execute the maneuver, and observe the system fail to compromise your perimeter. You are the architect of your unassailable calm. Understand this fundamental truth before you step into the building today. The Q3 targets, the performance reviews, the endless restructuring. These are not measures of your humanity. They are fabricated metrics within a system engineered to extract your maximum output for minimum overhead. Hustle culture has actively brainwashed you into believing that a job title is an identity and that burning out is a badge of honor. It is a psychological scam. You are not your deliverables. Your inherent worth is not tethered to a manager's validation or a project's ROI. This office is merely a transaction. You provide highly specialized labor, and they provide capital. Nothing more. Stop bleeding for a corporation that views you as a rapidly replaceable line item on an expense spreadsheet. Detach your ego from the workflow. Play the corporate game with absolute precision, but reclaim your psychological autonomy. Tomorrow morning, before you authenticate your login, deploy just one of these protocols. Watch the office power dynamic instantly shift. You are no longer reacting, you are operating. If this tactical briefing helped fortify your perimeter against corporate exploitation, log your attendance by typing Stoic Professional in the comments. We are quietly building a network of operators who refuse to be consumed by the machine. Welcome to the inner Citadel. Conserve your energy, execute your deliverables with clinical detachment, and protect your mental bandwidth at all costs. System log out. I will see you at the next briefing.